You know how they did the COINTELPRO shot? You know how they did the COINTELPRO shot, right? You heard me? That COINTELPRO shot, that was a counterintelligence program. So that one word meant more than one word. It was 3 words in one. So this COVID, I think, is the same type of shot. It's like everybody's being videoed. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Everybody's cooperatively standing and being videotaped, like videotaped, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. I don't know. You know,
I mean, they told us, man, that you know that electric eyes everywhere. We carry a mic and a camera on us everywhere we go.
Then they pushing the census pack, the stimulus, and all this. So you know what I'm saying? You know, it just happened. It just happened to be right at election year and all that. So that's when they pushed all that counting people, the budget and all that old shit to see how the world going to turn out for the next 30, 40,000 years, whatever the fuck they're trying to do.
Well, you know, they trying to do something. Hey, but since the brother's recording, this is King Ajalon with the Lord African Mind Show. Today, I got the brother from Connected Minds. I hustle daily. The chief, Taiki, the high tech, New Raka. And we have a special guest presence, a brother I met a while back, and we call him Pata Asor. Pata is the creativity, Asor is the manifestation. So this is the creative manifestation, also known as Brother Black Tisa. And with no further ado, we're gonna have Chief Taiki kick this show off, and we're gonna let the brother speak to us today.
Okay. We did start recording this, and this is going to be sent to the archives, and we're working on the technology. So a lot of this I'll be in the background, basically trying to monitor what the glitches are and what's going on with this. I didn't not sure of the subject we're going to talk on tonight, but I'm sure y'all got something in the bag of treats for everybody. And that being said, I'm just gonna let y'all roll with that.
Patel Zor.
Peace. Hotel.
Yeah, you up on the mic, man. What's gonna be the conversation, man? So when they go into the archives, right, 15, 10, 5 years from now, this conversation comes to the light, they gonna say, man, you know, they were good.
First thing that come to my mind is humility, being humble with what you're going through in life, period, because that enables you to be in a state where you can learn and receive things. If you're not humble, you're prideful in certain circumstances, you'll miss certain lessons and things that you're supposed to get, and you won't have the knowledge or the tools to carry yourself through things that you go through in life. So first thing that comes to my head is being able to see, being humble enough and being able to deal with reality on a level to where you can look at things in a way that is in its true state, regardless of anything else involved in it, and deal with it accordingly, so that you can get what you need from it. And the fact that so many things that we think have us enlightened or have us on a level to where we're on a good path are not what that is. It's real easy to fall into certain things like that. So it really takes a lot of dedication and focus to yourself to be able to take time out each day and focus on your goals and the things that the Spirit and Creator is telling you. And so I believe our topic should be being able to discern from the voices to follow and whatnot from within, or and being able to correlate that through the things that you're going through in life.
Hey, that's right on time. Give me 1 second. I gotta take the studio up to higher degree since you came with all that.
Hey, bro, is your phone stable?
Yeah, I'm gonna get a step right here. 1 second, give me 1 second.
All right.
Thought this was
Hey,
testing.
so is my mic a little better?
Much
Good.
better.
Okay, give me 1 second. Give me 2 seconds.
So this is King Adlan, the Super Bowl lawyer from and joint African market, high priest in the ancient Nubian mystery science, the science, spirituality, and spiritual science. When we say mystery, we mean my story. Who's able to tell our story, right, is a significant Nubian. So we have a lot of titles: Black, Moor, Asiatic, Hebrew, Christian, Muslim, Egyptians, Semitic, Zimbabwean, Zulu,
Hey, you cut off
Mandingo.
your
We got so many titles, but the bottom line is, who are you inside? Who are you inside? And so we're going to go in according to the answers.
Hey, bro, did you cut the messenger off? Cause it's your mic is really cracking. I can barely hear anything you said.
Yeah, they do that. They do that when I get to spitting some science.
Say again. Okay, I guess he went out to come back in.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's what the sound and the picture is important.
Yes,
Because
sir.
I think last show they said it was horrible because the sound and all that just wasn't clicking. So I want to make sure we at least we got this to practice and
Right.
actually get it down pat so we can get in a decent show and not have.
Yes, sir. Let me grab some water while I wait for the brother.
All
Excuse
right,
me.
I'm gonna do the same.
Yes, sir.
Numakiwawa.
Numakiwawa.
So Chief Taiki, the high tech still available?
When you got some water, brother.
I'm just trying to see if my voice is coming in a little clearer.
Yes, it is.
So this is my voice coming in clear to you, Chief Taiki, high tech?
It's sounding better now.
Okay. This whole thing, even though we do things raw, if this ever get aired, I think it might need to be edited.
Most definitely.
Or even if you know, sometimes you don't want to edit. You want the authentic thing. If it's gonna be part of the archive, because I'm telling you like this, I'm turning 53 this year, and so if y'all see this 10 years from now, I'll be 63. If you see it 20 years from now, I'll be 73. You know, and so it's gonna be a part of the archives. I don't know how we go store it. I know it's stored. Sometimes we store it in the cloud. I don't know where the technology is going. But I do need a copy of this recording, so you know we all can break it out whenever we want to break it out and share with those. We were doing an experiment. We were doing 1, 2, 3 tests. Test 1, 2, 3. Trying to make sure our mic and the camera work. At the same time, we got Baba Black, aka Patel Soar, and we got Ranu Nuraka, aka Chief Taiki, the high tech, the high tech, we salute. This brother let me into a little more of his world today, and that's on him to explain it. And I got to see a bigger picture. This brother is a magnificent brother. I truly support Good Vibes Only, and he has multiple different areas where he's serving the community and he's serving the business community. And I just want to commend the brother, salute the brother. Multifaceted brother, multidimensional brother. And with that being said, I'm gonna jump in to back where we was at.
Right.
I don't know how much we got recorded.
But we still rolling.
Yeah, I don't know how much we got recorded before I was told that my audio was not cool.
Just start from the beginning. We'll just chop it up to here.
So, brother, introduce the topic one more time.
Today's topic will be on being able to discern the voice of your true self and that of your creator, being able to tune into that and lean on that throughout your day-to-day situations, as opposed to something that might be a result of an influence of the life and the things that we go through in life.
And once again, like I said, with that being said, it brings me to the book of life, which the Europeans call the book of dead. And this picture, right, which is a glyph, right? A glyph is a sign, but it's also a hieroglyph. A hieroglyph represents pure, holy, right, or divine. So this is a divine glyph or a sign. A sign is a symbol. A symbol is a communication. From A to Z is a communication. Chinese characters are communication. Sanskrit is communication. Arabic is communication. So you can get into the African mind, which they say we worship animals and trees. And so the word worship means to make an inquiry, right? You make an inquiry. So we look at the sun, we see the sun, we make an inquiry, right? Then the next move is to accept the sun as it is. And the third thing you have to do, you have to live in balance with it. It's your job to live in balance with the sun. The sun doesn't have to live in balance with you. And this is why they say we worship animals and things, because we made an inquiry inside every environment. Then we had to accept the environment for what it is. And we had to find a way to live in the environment with the lions and the animals, right? In the trees, in the different temperatures of atmospheres, right? Every environment we went to, we had to make an inquiry. Who makes the inquiry? The scientific mind. So when we hear the word worship, right, the first thing you're hearing is war, ship, right? Now, what is a war? War is nothing but a challenge, right, to understand something, right? Ship is mean to move forward on something. So when you go into worship, the first thing you're doing, you're trying to calculate something. You're trying to get a picture, and you're trying to move forward with the picture. So, for lack of a better word, they said we worship. That's what they said, right? I'm just gonna say we knew. So when we seen the body of a man, right, we knew that was terrestrial. We knew the animal head, right, was extra. So now we see the extraterrestrials. When we see the body of an animal and the head of a man, we knew that was celestial. So in our language, right, if it had the head of a man and the head of a man and the body of an animal, we were dealing with the celestial world. If we had the body of an animal and if it had the head of an animal and the body of a man, we were dealing with the extraterrestrial. And if it just was the man and the woman, we were dealing with the terrestrial. So we had 3 levels of development. And so right here, Anubis, right, which is a jackal, which has big ears. It can hear. And it has elongated nostrils. And it has eyes, right? And it's focused in one direction. So now, right, we see this is the guide of the straight path. In the Quran, they call it the guided one. And Christianity says the way. So so this symbol is not a he or she, it's just a symbol. Like you would take an A to Z and you would make up a word, W-A-Y, but this is our symbol, right? It gives us a whole sentence in our middle clarity, in our pineal gland, in our pituitary gland, all right, for us to see that this symbol, this image, represented the opener of the way, or the guider of the way, or for those who are on the path. And if you're not on the path, right, he will keep you away from the path of the righteous, so you wouldn't be able to do this service to the laws of Ma'at. So you met this symbol on your journey in Ma'at, double halls of Ma'at, and it would take you and it would guide you and tell you which way you need to go. So you needed your canine senses. You needed your canine senses, right? To smell what's ahead of you, to see what's going on, to hear what's going on. But this had to do with your inner being. It had to do with your inner being, brothers and sisters. So the way our ancestors looked at the physical body, it was neither alive nor dead. Inside the physical body, they said he breathed the breath of life, and man and woman became living souls, meaning you became living gods in the terrestrial plane. So the soul is the celestial being, and the body is the terrestrial being. And so the soul is the presence of the Creator inside the terrestrial body.
Word.
Every time I get to putting this math down, my sound get distorted.
Yeah, it was good at the beginning, and it seemed like it just started deteriorating.
Is it totally deteriorated?
I can hear you. It's just we'll play it back when the recording, and you'll be able to see, and maybe we'll figure something out.
I'm just glad that I know I'm just glad to buy another phone, or I've been trying to keep these apps closed. But also, I noticed when somebody tried to call me, somebody trying to call.
You lost him.
Yeah, he probably went out again. When he goes out and come back in, it come back kind of clear for a minute, and then it seemed like down the line it just start chopping up.
Yeah.
Yeah, you noticed it.
Yeah, I tripped on it for a second, then it just didn't get back clear again.
Yeah, that's the issue we dealing with, and it started. We noticed it our last show on Wednesday.
Okay.
And,
Is it only certain people's microphones?
It's only his.
Okay.
Yeah. Now what yours is doing is like lagging. You know how sometimes you hear that robot voice?
Yeah.
Every now and then I hear that on yours. So it could be a reception issue. I always say it's probably better to do the Zoom on the Wi-Fi instead of your cellular.
I'm on Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
I'm on Wi-Fi.
Okay.
I'm on Wi-Fi also. Am I coming in distorted still?
No. When you come on, it's clear, and then it seems like when you get deep into it, the longer you talk, the more it just start going down and down and down.
Okay, so it could be the location in the house with the Wi-Fi, but we have done shows from this location before, and we didn't have the problems, for the first month.
Right.
We're gonna try to get through this. So, because I want the brothers to pick up where I'm going to bring you to. So you have what they call the presence of the Creator inside you, which we call the presence of Ra. Then you have another component, which is called the God self. The God self is the only part of the self that can see God. No man has ever seen God, right? So when we say man, we're talking about the physical body. The physical body does not see the Creator, right? It can sense the Creator, right? It can see the creation and have awe right? And then get filled up because the presence of Creator, Ra, is inside you, right? So the God self has three different names. The God self in its first stage is called Asur, the father of lights. So we see it, Asur is a symbol, right? A brother with a crown with snakes. A particular snake is the cobra. The cobra represented energy, right? It represented the divine energy because it got to spread its hood, right? And it stayed focused, and it struck like electricity. Okay, but on top of it, it has sun discs. The sun disc represents light. So in his particular crown, he had multiple lights, and he had one central light, representing the Father of Lights. You might have seen that inside your Bible. They took it from all light. The second stage, right,
Right.
was called the Kataris. The God self, the second part was called the Kataris, the Horus, the Hiru, or the Christ, or the Buddha, or the Muhammad, right, or the Enlightened One, or the Anointed and the Appointment, right? So you have the presence of Creator, then you have what they call the God self. The God self has three components that you must master in order to know your God self. The first part is your Asurian self. The second part is your Kata self, right? So you have to know the Father inside you, meaning your DNA. You have to know you're melanated. You have to know you have a pituitary gland and a pineal gland. Then the second part is your Katas. You have to know that you have to be a person of honor, of integrity, of tolerance, of forbearance, patience with your people. You have to be a defender of the faith, and you can't let the shits in, the shenanigans. You got to defend against the shenanigans. The third part is what we call the great lady, the enchanted lady, the lady of heaven. So that's when the pituitary gland, the pineal gland, right, which is your two components of yourself, when they connect, it becomes your etc., which they call Aset, or Isis, right?
Yeah.
Who births you into reality. That part of your energy, which they call feminine energy, or which we call the Ma'at, or the new, right? It creates, it allows you to birth things into existence, right? Once you know your true self, and your true self take it to the God self, when your true self wills into the God, to the Creator wills, you can bring things into existence. But there's a third component. It's called the self. It's called the self. Now the self, right? You can push the self buttons. You right? The self like has lust, passion, desire. It has envy, jealousy. It has a lot of things that have to be overcome within the self before you can get to your true self.
Yes, sir.
So I'm gonna let the brother take it from there. I just wanted you to understand this is the original Trinity. It is the self, the God self, and the presence of the Creator. And only the God self can see the Creator within, right? And so when we look for Creator within, we're not looking for a male or female, right? And no man can explain inside language the appearance of the Creator. And so when the Creator appeared to you, only you know that presence has revealed what it revealed to you. Go ahead, brother. Ansubu, Patel, Ansubu.
Patel Sar, Su Patel Sar. Is the brother with us?
Yeah, but the mic is yours, brother.
I'm here. I had to make a quick bathroom break, so y'all forgive me.
Yeah, just touch on the last two or three sentences, brother. So just to fill the brother in real quick, so he's not completely just thrown off when I begin.
No, he heard us. He just had the camera off.
Yeah, I heard mostly everything.
Oh, you didn't hear about the stages of the presence, the God self, which is the
Yeah, I got
asserting
that
self,
part. I got that part.
and inside the asserting self, you have another part. Once you start manifesting, and you understand that you are the light, you know that you have to interact with the light. Then you come into your Kata self, which they call the mind of Christ, or the heart
Right,
of Christ, or Katas, or Horus, or He Horu. Then
right,
once you get those two selves together, right, you get to experience what they call the ascetera, the ascet or the Isis, right? Meaning you get to speak things and manifest things into creation because you got your principles together and you got your virtues together, right? And
right,
when you have your principles and virtues together, you be a person of integrity. You'll be a person of honor. You become anointed in a point, and you come into what they call your etc. At the end of their words, etc., meaning that you are so profound with in the anatomical weights of your words and your thinking and your thoughts, right? It's so in sync with your alignment, right? But then you have another component that's called the self. That part dwells in lust, passion, desire, anger, frustration, sadness, stress, bitterness, feelings, emotions, ego, pride, happy. And when we talk about happy, because the spirit within is joy, but happiness is a thought process. You want somebody to make you happy, or you want something to make you happy. Once you get past all those which we call the fritters that hold you down, man must be released from the fritter before he can see the God self. Once you see the God self, the creator appears. And so with that being said, I'm gonna turn it over to Patel Asor.
Peace. Hotel to the family. Hotel to the brothers. One thing. So these things are natural manifestations, man. And melanated beings, and it's the God self that you speak about that allowed us to be in tune with creator and creation, and allow us to create the things such as the pyramids of so-called Giza and these things like that, the Sphinx, amongst billions of other creations. Basically, all things of creation come from us, and the manifestation of God self in a form of thought. One thing that comes to my mind is there are certain events in each stage that bring you to the presence or the lesson that each thing, the revelation of that individual presence, like the Saurian self. There's certain things that you go through in life, in your physical day-to-day life, that will bring about the revelation of your Saurian self if you're able to tune in, if you have the eyes to hear, like the Bible says, those who have ears to hear, let them listen. Those who have eyes to see. They're speaking about those who are able to go through things in life and understand the reason, the meaning, and what they're supposed to get out of it, and use that to gain strength within their self, to eventually reach the God self. So one thing, I have a question for the Nsubu, as far as the Saurian self, which you stated was the first stage. What are some of the things that you might experience in life, in your day-to-day travels and whatnot, that might be some things that would bring about that realization of the Saurian self, or that might have you looking at life in a different way that most people wouldn't understand that's what it is, but at the end of the day, it's the revelation of this presence. A lot of people might call it an epiphany. A lot of people will call it deja vu in certain forms, but there's certain things that bring about the revelation of this thing, and one of the things that get us entrapped in that physical self is not understanding when those realizations, those lessons come, and not being able to take heed to what they are. So one thing that is key, I believe, is to be able to pinpoint and focus on some of the things that you might be going through, or one might experience when experiencing this spirit, or coming into contact with the spirit within self and throughout your physical day-to-day activities, that might bring about that realization.
And Brother Chief Kid High Tech, you have something you want to add to the bill?
Yeah. I like to pick up where that brother just left off, experiences that you see these certain levels on, and me myself, I'm a slow thinker, and but I like to think I'm a keen observer, and one of the things I observed is during meditation times, when you're able to actually see the person within, and a lot of people, they don't give their minds enough time to actually experience that. And I can say from personal experience, it's not something like, you watch the movies and stuff, and people, they meditate for hours and something, and you think they're so enlightened. But in my experience, those sparks of enlightenment are they last very quickly because of our mind being distracted on a lot of things. But during the times that I've been able to tap into that, I was able to understand simple ways of actually accessing those levels, and I kind of simplified them into we have the scripture that talks about hearing without ears, seeing without eyes, and things like that. And a few of the exercises I started to do was I would do something like I tell you, think of the sound of a dog barking. Now, if you really thought about that, you just heard a dog barking and you didn't use your ears. And if I tell you something like, can you see an elephant? Your mind can pull that picture of that elephant up. So you actually have just accessed that part of you that can see without your eyes, and that part of you that can hear without your ears. And the more you exercise that, you start to get more in tune with who you really are. And it has nothing to do with ego or the body or anything like that. You start to connect with that person, and you're from any pain or anything that you may think is going on in your life, you actually see that it's not, because you actually start to see your true self. But one thing I noticed when I first started getting into work like that was, one of the lessons I learned was to try and focus on one single thought. First, I started with one single thought, then I started with no thought at all. And the length of time I did it was for 15 seconds. And I can tell you right now, if you ever try that exercise, it's like that's the longest 15 seconds you'll ever experience in your life, to be able to hold 15 seconds of no thought at all. It sounds easy, but it's really very complicated. I had to get to the point where I had to set a timer on my clock, because if I'm thinking about the 15 seconds, if I'm trying to count it out, then my mind isn't clear. So I had to implement certain things to actually reach that level. And when you start doing that, that's when you start seeing how much clutter you actually have in your mind that stops you from accessing those levels. And it's like a computer. Once a computer has too much on it, it has to reboot. It has to clear everything, it has to wipe the slate clean in order for any new information to be stored on it. So for me, that was how I started accessing those different levels and actually being introduced to my true self. So that's what I wanted to add with that.
Thank you. Well,
Okay. King Alexander Anasubu, Numakiwawa.
Makiwawa.
Numakiwawa.
And so the brother asked a question about the uncertain self. And the other brother touched on the true self, which the true self has three components, right? Really has four, right? Has four, but we talking about the three, right? Because it has two. Well, we'll go back. So we're going to the Assyrian self. Inside the Assyrian story, Assyrian was a great person, innocent, naive, right, and did that which was right. Meaning that whichever way your environment raised you, right, you move the way your environment raised you, whether it's your mom, your dad, your grandmother, your uncle, your community, your village. You move in that way without a second thought, because that's just what the world is at that moment. Then you meet your set, something that's set in its ways, right? And then that set, it locks you in a box, which they call a sarcophagus or a coffin, right? Or a box, right? Or tunnel vision. So this is what you experience with your certain steps as you go, la la la. Then you get locked in the box. You know, you get locked in a certain way of doing things, right? Then you come out of that box, right? You get to start seeing things. You get free from that box, right? That's called the first resurrection. When you get free from that box, you get free from that box. You get free from that coffin, that sarcophagus, right? And something helps you put your members back together, help you put you back together, right? It could be your mama, your grandmother. It could be drug treatment. It could be a job, a skill, a trade. It could be anything that makes you whole again, you know, after you went through your tunnel vision. Then shit that you do, things that you do, it chops you into pieces. It chops you into different sections, right? The only member that you are totally aware of is your phallus, right? Your sexual organ, right? Right? The other parts in the story, they said the phallus is the part that can't be found, and the other parts got to be found. But the story is almost in reverse. That you are controlled, you become controlled by your sexual organ, right? While you have other parts of your body that needs to be used and need to be reunited, right? Instead of just your phallus. So the story is once you get to losing your phallus, or when you lose your sexual organ and you get to assemble yourself back together, then when you're assembling yourself back together, as you move it off your phallus or your sexual organ, but yourself is trying to assemble yourself back together, right? You don't feel comfortable in certain crowds. You get to question yourself why you do certain things. You get clarity of what happened in your childhood. You get to have out-of-body experiences. You get to have what they call deja vu. You get to have what they call epiphanies. You get to start astral traveling, right? You get to finish in other people's sentences. You get to picking up books, knowing what's in the book. So when you read the book, it's like a remembrance. It's just something like I know this without even knowing it, right? Then you get to talking about DNA and RNA. You get to talking about third eye and fourth eye, right? So this is your assurance self. But by the same time, you're being led by your phallus, right? So meaning being led by your passion and desire, you've been led by your lower self, but your higher self has become activated. And so while your lower self is leading you, your higher self is aware, man, we ain't supposed to be doing this shit. We ain't supposed to be eating it. We ain't supposed to be smoking it. We ain't supposed to be having sex with her. We ain't supposed to be having it. And so it gets to the point where you ain't even comfortable. It gets to the point where you're not comfortable at all, right? And so that's when your assurance of God, right? And another part of yourself is born, which is your Kairos, which is your Christ, which is your Muhammad, which is your Buddha, which is your Kara, the Ka, the soul of Ra, comes awoke, right? And you stop doing bullshit. You stop doing shenanigans. And
is all this a part of the Saurian drama that you're explaining?
it's part of your soul self. This is part of your self, right? Your Kairos come open. Your Horus comes forth. Your soul
that was the original Karas, like the Krishna, the KRS, like KRS-One, and all that. That was the original name for Asar.
Right.
KRST.
Yeah, that was the Asar.
So you have your Asar part, right? The naive part. Then you get to participate in stuff that you doing because it was your environment. Then the shit you start doing, this is how you know you become woke, right? It don't feel good. Then your Kairos work up. Your Hebrew wakes up. And now you start meditating, start fasting, you start using the third eye, the fourth eye, you start using crystals, chanting, you start connecting with different people. You connect with different people. Then your Isis comes forth, right? Your Isis comes forth, right? That you know what you know, what you know, you know what you know. And so your Asur and your Kairos come together, right? And it does a rebirth of your Asurian self, right? And your Asurian self becomes the presence of the Creator in you, watching your spirit man, your Kairos, do things, right? Your Kairos becomes the defender of self. Your Kairos becomes the defender of what not to do. It knows what to do. And so your Tahuti come activated, meaning the supreme wisdom, the divine knowledge, the superior understanding, your super understanding. And what it tells you what to do when you're dealing with the Tubaguyus or when you're dealing with the self is also called typhoon. A typhoon is like a whirlwind, a hurricane, chaos, confusion. And it says, just give us an example. If we couldn't beat the Europeans in war, right, a physical war, the Tahuti part of you, a part of your inner self, or your God presence, or your God self, or your true self would tell you, hey, charge them by the laws that they put on the books. You motherfuckers, bro, since you went around the world and colonized Australia, New Zealand,
Right.
Fiji. You want to split Africa up into 50 states, nations. You're the one who split South America up into state nations. And you claimed it for the Portuguese to Belgium. So now you wrote this in your book, right? Now it's your turn to go to the world court and to the international court and to the earth tribunal, right? Because this is what you put in your book. Like the Quran said, everyone should be judged by their books.
Right.
Like the Bible said, he opened the 7 seals and he got to look within, right? And the great judgment scene.
Yeah.
That you wrote what you did, that you brought people and you after church and you had picnics and what's the other one called, brother? Barbecues.
The
Barbecue.
what?
Picnics and barbecue. Where they picked the nigga and hung him, and where they barbecues him at the church. They had advertisement going around from church to church,
Yeah.
and they would come from miles around, and they would cut fingers off and stuff, right? So if you can't beat them physically in a physical war, right, you're supposed to judge them from their books, from what they wrote. Now, when you talk about these things, right, they call reverse racism. This is when you're trying to defend itself. But ISIS, this is when ISIS kick in. When you know how to write stuff down, right? You know how to make your presentation. You know how to make your words mean what you say and say what you mean, regardless of what they say, right? Because you're reading from their book. You're reading from their deeds and actions. So when your God presence comes, it only facilitates the truth. It only activated inside the truth. Your asserting self, when it's resurrected, it only birthed the Kairos, which is the defender of the faith, and the faith is my eye, right? To stay inside the truth. You know, we don't do no Easter bunny, don't do no Christmas. Oh, it's for the kids. It's for the kids. It don't do no Disneylands, right? It don't get lost up in the future world. It don't get lost up in the past world of these amusement parks, or these fantasies that other people can build for you. It stay on point, right? And it defends the faith that somebody has illegally took the throne, meaning your lower self has illegally, or you willingly allowed your lower self to possess the body, the vehicle you're in, and you want to awaken all your energies up for you to do the right thing. Go ahead, brother.
Can you for my notes purpose, I'm trying to get those all the levels. I know you mentioned Asarian, the Crest level, the ISIS level. Then you mentioned Tahuti. What are all those levels, by the way, bro? Those different states.
So your Asurian sense, your Asurian self is what you call your frontal conscious. Your coward self is called your inner conscious. Your etc. or your Isis is called your upper conscious. Because your Isis part or your etc. part or the divine mother or new or Ma'at, that part is the part that resurrected your soul and it birthed your powers. It's responsible for bringing those two parts together that make it a family, that make it a union, that make it a unification within itself. That makes it a trinity. Another way we can say it, right? Your Assyrian self, right, is the eye of Ra. In your Hiru or your Horus self, right, is the eye of Karas, which is called the eye of Horus. Or another way we can say it, your fourth eye and your third eye. Or the best way to put it in scientific language is your pituitary gland and your pineal gland. When both of them are activated, it's a magnetism that happens, right, with your electrons within your neurons and your nervous system, right, that allows atomic particles to react to each other inside your magnetic field, which is called your etc. That means that you get to start speaking things into existence, but you, like you said, you be slow to speak, you dwell on things, you watch what you say, you govern everything, you become a person of integrity, a person of honor, a person of reverence. And you don't use no magic because you know you have supernatural galactic energies inside you, and you only use them to benefit the whole. I think, and I apologize because some people got that, but I think that might have went a little past some people. So if you take what the Ansubu has said in portions, and if you get this book, and if you get this book, this is your key right here. This is your key. Before you try to go anywhere else, if you can master this book, you can unlock the ancient Nubian mysteries, the Assyrian mysteries.
What's the name of that book, by the way, brother?
Stolen Legacy. This is Stolen Legacy.
Stolen Legacy, yes, sir.
Stolen Legacy. This tells you about yourself, your different selves. Also, you can get the Seekum or Seekum with the Source Society. He has wrote a book called The Metru Neter Volume 1, where he takes you on a journey in which, in the mystery system, that's called the slow path, meaning somebody has did the work. All you got to do is follow the instructions, right? This book right here gives you the components, and you have to do the realization inside. This is the long path. Either way it goes.
That's the straight path. That's basically what we was hitting on from the gate. You kind of summed it up on a metaphysical, on a holistic level, as far as just even a Saurian resurrection within self, how that plays out. You know, because it all is based in truth, like you were saying, and understanding when that truth has presented itself, in order for you to realize the initiation or the level that your spirit has reached through the experiences that you go through within your physical self, you know. And it's key, like I was saying, to be able to discern the things that you go through in life, to be able to realize them for what they are, so you don't miss when the lessons come for you to move on to that next level, or to use that, or to have that tool and not misuse it. Because a lot of times we have tools, like you said, we have subatomic energy in ourselves that we can use, and we're so distracted, like Brother Taki was saying, a lot of times through outside influences, that we don't understand that we have them or what they are, in order to use them. And so one of the things is to be able to identify them so that you can use them in a proper context. And so one of the questions was, what I asked you, what one of the things you might experience when dealing with this Asarian energy or going through this level in your spiritual growth. And one of the key things that you said was the overwhelming urge to just to seek the truth and to establish that in everything that you do. There's like an almost unignorable presence within yourself, as far as that I can remember, when I went through something, a certain way of thinking that I believe, to the best of my knowledge, to be what the truth was, and then along my journey, coming into more information that showed me actual, the difference and the feeling, the understanding I had when I reached that level in life, because the presence of the Creator was always directing, through the vehicle, the experiences you go through, knowing what you need in order to grow. I had that overwhelming urge to not want to have anything to do with something that might have a hidden meaning or a roundabout way or anything. I wanted to go straight to the point and get straight to the truth. And so a lot of times I know, as far as with brothers and sisters, like being Black in America, there's so many things that point you in the opposite direction. And so if it slaps you in your face a lot of times, we wouldn't understand what it was. And I think it's pivotal for us as people, especially for those of us who understand and want other people to reach this, this level and get in tune back with their true self, for us to be able to identify certain things that we might go through in the lifestyles that we live on a day-to-day basis, in order to get ourselves back straight, to further that journey. One other thing you said was the karas was the inner consciousness, and the asar was the frontal consciousness, all being directed by the source, which is your higher self, your true self. So the thing that I wanted to more make a notice of is how somebody who might not have an understanding of any of this at all, right? If they see this, what might they be able to do, or what might they be able to look for within their own lives as something that they might be going through, or something that they might have gone through that would even draw them to be looking at this, or that they can identify as being led on the path, so they can stay on that and seek the right things to continue in their journey.
So,
as far as being able to recognize, each stage.
Pata and Subu, Pata.
And Subuta and Subu.
So, and Subu. So, to break it down, we already knew a while back when I met your brother, he was going to have to interpret some stuff. Because I always tell people I'm not talking to your mind or your body. I'm talking to your spirit, your heart, and soul. But I'm going to break it down to the component where anybody can get it, because he asked me to clarify it. Sometimes when you're in a higher realm, you speak things in the higher realm. And he said, if you can't understand earthly things, how can I tell you about heavenly things? And so basically what we're going to do is say your asserting self, right, is the part that's innocent, right? But it's in awkward situations. It's in areas that it doesn't feel, it seems like everything's a plot against you, but you still pass through it, right? Your charis is...
Or another word for karas is Christ, correct?
Right.
The Christ self, the Christ consciousness, the Christ energy.
It is when you wake up and you crazy, to everybody else. Your mama don't understand, your daddy don't understand, cut your lights out, stop talking that Black stuff. We ain't gonna do all that. You was raised a Christian, you're American, African don't care about you. And it's a very trying time. And so your ISIS part, right, is that you speaking the truth and you don't care what nobody say. And now you're able to teach because you haven't changed up. You stay true to your calling. You stay true to your manifestation. So we'll take your assurance up. Is a part of you that's in a situation that's not comfortable, but but that's yourself looking at yourself in all situations. And then your Christ, your kind of self, right, is when you being ridiculed and you being mocked, and you don't really fit in. You tired of it. It doesn't make that part of things, it just stopped making sense. And your ice itself is when everything makes sense and you know you're traveling in the right direction and you don't give a damn. Unapologetically, you don't give a damn. You go speak the truth. You go stand on the truth. You go live for the truth. And if you want to be my queen, if you want to, if you're my child, if you're gonna put the truth out there. That's all you have because you have words of power.
Correct.
So these are your 3 stages of development. The first stage of development is subliminal suggestion, right? When the environment has an impact on you, right? But then you see something wrong with the impact. The second stage of development is common knowledge, right? It's not common sense, but it's common knowledge when you connect the dots, right? That you see prayer, fasting, meditation, chatting, proper diet, charity. It's the same thing around the globe, and you forget the name of God, and you forget the religions, and you just do what's right because you see it is a global experience of us in our physical bodies. And the third part of the vision is called divine sight. When your third eye is open, your fourth eye is open, when you move in the ether self, in the astral self, and you know that you know, ain't nobody can go rock your boat. You know that you know, and you move as just as you know.
So what was that third one? Could you repeat that? The
It's
name
called divine. It's called divine sight. Third level of development is divine sight.
And you mentioned Tahuti stage is that, am I correct with that one?
So your Tahuti, your Tahuti is if you was a mason or in the craft, if you was in a sorority or fraternity, you would be using your tools. You know, meaning your wisdom, your knowledge, your overstanding, and your understanding. You will measure things, you will center things, right? And you'll stand on your square, and you'll notice the assumptions. You'll be critical. You'll be a critical thinker, and you'll move right in the best interest for all. That's the Tahuti part. It's when you're using your math. It's when you're using your skills and your talents, your engineering, and your architectural stuff. Right? It's really, your Tahuti is like almost is basically saying your God self. When you hear that inner voice in, they call it intuition or something told me or Holy Spirit. You know, it's just when you know things. When you know things and you be like, boy, how you know that? You must be an old soul. The Holy Spirit told me, the rule of Allah came to me. There's so many different ways to explain the Tahuti self. The key word of the Tahuti self is the enlightened self. You know, that part that is aware of the construction of man within the spirit man. It's when the spirit man takes over. But you also have the Ptah self, right? And when that's the creative within, that's your creativity. That's when you make the shoemaking machine, you make the cotton gin, you make the stoplight, you make the computer, right? You know, you make all these different things. And that's when you have to have your power self say, you won't steal my patent. You know, this is our system. You guys just applying it wrong. You know, you call it democracy, you call it a republic, you call it a communist state, you call it a socialist state, and you throw us off with all these words. But this world is our planet. This planet, this ecosystem is our system. Your application is wrong. You know.
Yes, sir. That's right.
Some people go get that. Some people go get that when you fully wake that the whole system is our system. It's just the application, the fucked up education. The educational system is our system. All around the world is the same educational system. It's just the way the application that you black and you a nigga and you a slave and I'm the master, right? I'm white, I got privilege, and I got entitlement, or assalamu alaikum, I believe in Jesus. Those applications don't let you see the glory of the system, of the ecosystem of Earth, right? Because now you're not looking to be one in your environment. You're looking to be superior over something in the environment. Hey, King Aguilar down Super. We go get deeper. We go get deeper. But I want to encourage everyone. If you want to cut your light on, if you want to stop the, they say, the self-awakening, right? With the Lord self trying to awaken to the God self, and you want the true self to take over and contact the God self so it can see the present. In this book, it lets you know your components. So you can get into this book where you know how the components operate. You have 9 cells, right? What they call 9 ethers. This book breaks it down. This book tells you how to operate within it. But you have some people with self-discovery. Elijah Muhammad said he came to the deaf, dumb, and blind, but he said some are born awoke and aware. Marcus Garvey said he came to educate, but there were some were already awoke and aware. So you got to understand who is the brother that established that famous college that everybody used to go to, and they had the Arameans named after him, and they did a syphilis experiment. Tuskegee.
Tuskegee, yeah.
What's the brother who started Tuskegee?
Douglas.
Brother Frederick Douglass. Hey, bro. Hey, you know who? Brother Umar Johnson. That's his uncle, bro. One of his relatives, right? But
I know that.
but the brother we said not Langston Hughes, right? But what's the brother who started Tuskegee University?
Douglas.
Not Frederick Douglass, but hey, Omar Johnson like that's exactly.
No, it's the brother. It's
Booker T. Washington.
Booker T. Yeah, that's right. The pictures, man. I had the picture in my mind. They look similar, man. In they headshot, and they bust. You know the bust photos of them.
Right. So
they
when you study,
like same style of hair almost.
Right. So when you study Booker T. Washington, you're going to understand George E. M. James was associated with the brother. You're going to understand Marcus Garvey associated himself with the brother, and a lot of your great scholars that came out of our past, right, was connected to Booker T. Washington. That brother is one of the scholars that he don't get his credit. The only thing they tell you about the Tuskegee Institute, they don't tell you about the nurses. They don't tell you about the farmlands. They don't tell you about the engineers, and the doctor, and the architects, the craftsmen, right? They don't tell you about the scientific discoveries and the alchemists. The brother, he was the mystery system. The same thing that they said that you think they took from ancient Kemet. So look at yourself this way, brothers and sisters. Look at yourselves this way, okay? So here's ancient Kemet, and here's a building. The building is still there, right? So now they take the people and they put the people on a slave ship. Now the people in the building had the operation manner, which is the Metu Neter or the hieroglyphics, right? But they also had scrolls. Part of those components is in your Wakanda Forever DNA. So what they did, they left the institutions and they tried to tear them up, but they took the people. So when you said they stole our history and they stole our culture and they stole our education, no, they stole you. All that stuff is in you. And they needed you to interpret it. They need you to build the White House, and they need you to build the Washington Mall. They needed you to do everything because there's no way they can steal it. They can steal you, and it's in you. It is still in you. It's in us. Us are the mighty Nubian living soul. So that's what me and this brother right here, Patel Athor, and Ranu Nu Raka, the message we trying to bring to worldwide African unity, that they ain't stole shit. It's us. The system is our system. The trickeration is the legacy, right? The application they gave it to the Greeks and the Romans, right? So now we're doing a Greek and Roman application within our own system because the whole earth equal environment is our system. There's nothing new under the sun. Since we the people of the sun, they can't give us nothing new. So the nuclear bomb, the atom bomb, the hydrogen bomb, all the military weapons, right? All the spy gear, everything the foods, everything. You're right next to them, black man, black woman. You ain't got any patent, right? And your face is not, they don't use your face on Little Debbie or Hostess cakes or nothing like that. But you get all that. Everything that they're doing, that they're putting in plastic packages or whatever they're doing, Miss Smith pies, you was alive. Remember your grandmother, your great grandmother cooked for these people for 400 years? And now you don't want to eat at the black restaurant? Thank you, Martin Luther King, right? You want to go sit at Woolworth and you want them to beat you and put a water hose? Well, it's a certain type of group of Negroes who love the European to be in power over there. And they say not all Europeans and all this stuff. But do you hear one European speaking up at any of these churches? Do you hear one voice in the wilderness that's saying, hey, set the black man free, give the black man reparations, to give him ships to go back to Mother Africa, to give him planes? Hey, to squash the African debt that the colonial powers in 1884, 85, and 86 at the Berlin Conference when they geographically chopped Africa up and physically abused the people. The Belgian people, people in Belgium killed 70 million Africans, right, in the Congo, and split the Congo up in two parts when it was the Congala. What they did in Zimbabwe, they killed 40 million. What they did, the Germans did in Zambia, they killed 30 million. What they did in South Africa, they killed 50 million. What they did in Nigeria, they killed 10 million. What they did in Ghana, they killed 8 million. We got the numbers. What they did in Sierra Leone, okay, so we can't forget this. But there's another group say, oh, that was in the past. But now, the people who want to depopulate the planet is the same ones who want to give you the vaccination. They want to take away 3 billion people on the planet. Hey, your numbers are 3 billion on the planet, black man. And 3 billion people gonna go, but you got some Negroes, right? What's that Negro name? That fought in Don Loudon, that he was raised by a Jewish family, and they sent him to boarding school over in France, and they gave him a French last name, Du Bois. Huh?
I don't know that one.
Du Bois, okay? W.G. Du Bois.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, he was raised by a Jewish family, some white folks, and he was made an honorary Jew in the synagogue, and they sent him to school over in France, a boarding school, one of the most racist hate group, and he came, and they paid him to argue with Marcus Garvey and to set up the NAACP, the person who helped tear Marcus Garvey down, the person who helped tear the Universal Improvement Negro Association down, or the persons was also affiliated with the NAACP and W.E. Du Bois. At the end of W.E. Du Bois' life, he seen that he was a traitor of the race. He tried to make it up by moving to Ghana. Or was he an implant over in Ghana? Or was he an implant? This trilogy should be continued. So, I just gave y'all a lot. If you go into this book, it'll help you decipher, right? The only thing we want is the land. Anything anything other than the land, right? It lets you know you have a mindless slave, okay? Because they took your land and they took you off your land. So any other compromise, right, is a compromise of a slave. Oh, give me a job. All you motherfuckers that can't wait to go back to work instead of can't wait to create your own job. All you people waiting on stimulus checks instead of trying to come together, put some money together to start an investment club. So even me, I'm included. Okay, I'm not above it, but we gotta say what it is so we can move in that direction.
Right. I guess we've been going about an hour and a half, so I guess we're gonna go ahead and end this one. I'm gonna try to shoot you the recording of this so you can get this out to the people as well, and send you a link on that.
Ain't no way you can do a little editing to it.
I can. I should be able to. Yeah, I should be able to. That'll take a minute, but I think I know where, because I'm saving it in the cloud now, so I got a little more room to work with. So with this, brother, are you gonna stick with it, brother?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna move, family. We're gonna move to a YouTube channel. We're gonna be doing YouTube lives. We're gonna do another show outside of the Connected Mind show. The Connected Mind show will always be on Wednesday at 8. But we're gonna do another show where the Ansu will be on, and we'll be doing Takia being there, this brother being there, different sisters in there, and we'll have different people coming in with the Ansu. Uh, uh, and at the end of the day, we're going to talk about going to the Connected Mind because that's going to be um, valuable information, pertinent information, strategic information. When we go to the Connected Mind, uh, this brother, Chief Takeda High Tech, is prolific in assimilating information and putting operations together to make it work. This brother has such a love for the people, and he shows it with his family and the way he moves in this society that he strategically does things to cause growth, and he takes those life lessons and he brings them to the platform, behind the scenes and in front of the scenes. And so I thought I knew some stuff until I met this brother, right? And he don't know. I've been taking notes. I've been taking notes of him, but my notes is mental. I got a pen, but I take mental notes, right? On how to conduct myself, how to speak a little slower, right? And how to make sure that the listening audience can get the message. But then that's the other part of the Ansupu that's going to tell you. The body's composed of 718 cells, 40 being the brain cells, 24 miles a second. The speed of light and sound is slower than the speed of thought. I will intrude upon your mental capacity to think. I will intrude upon your mental capacity to think. So until we touch minds again, this is King Angeline from the Loyal African Mind, the Ansu.
Makiwawa.
Numa Kiwawa.